Sit down, please. The Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, all the other ministers, the Permanent Secretary, Their Excellencies, the ambassadors, the leaders of the teachers' unions, and all the teachers who are here today, and the children who are here. First of all, I congratulate all the teachers on this World Teachers' Day. Mukurikeyo. Secondly, I congratulate the 12 teachers who excelled and got prizes. In our Luganda language, we say, adinga na mawolu agajamo mukto. That if you keep eating cold food, you will be satisfied eventually. Therefore, I will use this occasion to repeat the message of the NRM on the issue of education. I always try to tell you that whatever one plans, you must plan it for the context in which it is. You other Ugandans, the Banyankore say, okumtoguri eshojun kuitegwa, which means that the hairstyle depends on the hairstyle depends on the shape of the head. If you have got a big head, the hairstyle will also be similarly affected. Therefore, our plans depend on the history and the capacity of Uganda. I've told you a number of times that by independence, there was a small island of a modern economy surrounded by a sea of underdevelopment. That small island, by 1962, was being described as the island of the 3 C's and the 3 T's. You are teachers, you should know all this. The 3 C's were cotton, coffee, and copper, and the 3 T's were tobacco, tourism, and tea. By 1962, recently they gave me figures, only 9% of the homesteads were in the money economy, which means that 91% were outside the money economy. Now, in 1970, 71, Idi Amin came in and destroyed the small island of the money economy. Out of the 3 C's, only coffee kept limping on. The others collapsed, copper and cotton. Then out of the 3 T's, only tobacco survived. The other two collapsed, tourism and tea. So therefore, by 1986, when the NRM came into power, the small modern economy had collapsed. And we had now to deal with the challenges that presented. And we have handled it in phases. Phase one was what we called minimum economic recovery, which meant bring back the small island of the money economy and deal with the problems of shortages of what they were calling essential commodities, of sugar, of tea, of soap, and so on. And magendo, and what they were calling Echibanda. Magendo was smuggling, Echibanda was foreign currency black market, and Oksamra was speculation. That one was achieved. Phase one, bring back the small island of the money economy. Secondly, expand it. And we have been seeing what has been happening. If you take coffee, we moved from 2 million bags. We are now at 9 million bags of coffee being exported. And the other production lines. Number three, diversify the money economy. Don't only depend on the 3 C's and the 3 T's, add other products. That's how products like beef, like milk, like cocoa, like maize, like cassava, all those products, which were not known to be cash products, are now cash products. Diversification. Now, phase four, add value. Because the other problem, the other time was also whatever was being produced was mainly being exported as raw material. And that one has the problem of making us get less money and exporting jobs. The shirt I'm putting on is 100% made in Uganda. And if you analyze this shirt here, you will see 6 levels of jobs. People are always talking about jobs, but they never bother to find out where the jobs come from. Level 1 of this shirt is to grow the cotton. When you grow the cotton, you create jobs for some people and you earn money. Level 2 is to gin the cotton. There are a number of ginneries where you remove the seeds from the cotton. Level 3 is to make yarn, to make thread out of the pamba. That means if we export cotton 1 kilo, after you have removed the seeds, you may get $1 per kilo. But if you make yarn, the value goes up. And you also create jobs for the people who work in the spinning factory to make the yarn. Level 4, weave the cotton. You weave it into a cloth. into a jora, into a fabric. That means you add more value, but you also create more jobs. Level 4, print colors into the fabric. More value, more jobs. Finally, level 6, tailor the fabric into a garment. Auctioneer. By this time, the kilo from which we got $1 is able now to bring you $14 or $15. So this is another battle we have been engaged in, adding value to our raw materials. And that is phase 4. Phase 5 is to introduce a new economy based on knowledge. You have seen your people making vehicles, making automobiles, vaccines, assembling and trying to make computers, going into the pharmaceutical industry. That's now a new level of industrialization. Now, when we are doing all this, we need money for supporting the economy, for building infrastructure, and also for supporting social services, which include health, education, and so on. And this is where we get now another point which I would like you to appreciate. When the other small economy of the colonial times, even before it collapsed, the education we went through was elite education. Education for a few, very few people. You can go and check how many children were in the primary schools by 1962. Very few. You can check how many children were in the primary schools, how many pupils were in the secondary schools. Very few. So the education at that time was for a small number of people, for a few people. But when we came in, we could not accept the idea of elite education. We had to insist on the mass education. That's what the previous speakers were talking about, what Mama was talking about, and what Honorable Kaduchi was talking about. So you have got multiple tasks. First of all, you are trying to make the economy recover from collapse. Secondly, you are trying to make the economy, the other phases I have told you about, to expand and so on. At the same time, you have got this big task of not just dealing with a small number of learners, but dealing with the large number of learners. If we are dealing with a small group of learners, we would have few teachers to teach them. And they could be paid very well, the few teachers, to teach a few. But what would be the impact on the country? You have heard what Honorable Kaduchi told you, that because of the mass education, in spite of all the problems we have, the literacy rate has gone from 43% to 76% now. So now, our Muganda Wagambira abari baseka. You remember the Rugero? Abari baseka bajje bandabe. Those who are laughing at our strategy. Now you see, literacy has gone up. So now, when you have this problem of dealing with the recovery of the economy, at the same time dealing with the bigger mass education, mass vaccination, because for everything we do is mass. We try to cover everybody. Mass vaccination, mass education, security for all, to bring peace in the whole country. All this needs money. So what do? This is where now bad planners bring the idea of Banyankole call it okumemerera. I think Baganda call it okumamira. My people told me that in Luo, it is called poro. Sprinkling small. That strategy we don't accept. When we were in the bush fighting, we had a lot of problems, including hunger. We didn't have enough food. If you don't have enough food, what do? If you democratically starve everybody, what will happen when the enemy comes to attack you? That's why I would say, the little food which is there, give more to the people who are on duty today, the ones who are guarding the camp, so that for them they stay awake, because when you are hungry, you doze. So even when we are sleeping because of hunger, at least somebody is awake. But some people are saying, no, feneka tuebake, what for to fe. That one I cannot accept. This is really, this is suicidal. This fellow who is guarding the camp now, he is not the most important necessarily. He may be a small person, but he's the one guarding the camp. Let him stay awake. When you are hungry, you are dozing most of the time. Let's sleep, but when the enemy comes, this one who is alert will wake us up, and we shall survive. And then, that's where the other proverb comes in. Kamukamugwe ichi? Kamukamugwe ichi? Kamukamugwe ichi? Akwate mpora kola ichi? Bugubugu sichi? Byonna mubizeemu. So therefore, I would really encourage, because if you see the economy is growing, like for instance, when we put more money in 2006, we put more money on the roads, and put more money on electricity. Now we have got surplus electricity. With Karuma, with the Simba, now we have got surplus electricity. It came because we put more money from 2006. You remember 2005, those who are old enough, remember we had a problem of load shedding. When some parts of the country would be off without electricity, then you wait for hours. Now there is surplus electricity in the whole country because we said yes, we have got many needs, but in order for the economy to grow, we need electricity and some communication. There are other important, like water. If you see the budget of water in 2006 and after, it was quite small compared to what we put in electricity and put in on the roads. Not because we didn't know that water is important, but if you can't do all, what do you do? Why not start with something that will help you to get to a higher level? Because electricity will mean more factories, more businesses, and that means more taxes and so on. This is the context I want you to understand. Of course, Mama told you other aspects, like for instance, the teachers in the private schools are getting less money, but they work more. That one is a challenge. So therefore, our intention is very clear. The economy is growing. You can see the economy is growing quite fast. You have seen inflation is low. Our target is to pay all the public servants well, but also increase the numbers of the public servants. When we closed the schools, the number of the children who were sent home were 15 million children. Now, if you take the teacher pupil ratio of 50 per teacher, that means we need 300,000 teachers for 15 million children. In our time, it was one teacher to 40 pupils. So you can see we need more teachers. But now we are not able to hire them. But where we are going as the economy is growing, and if we all act together instead of empaka, instead of arguments and then struggles, because when I put my foot down and I said we should start with the scientists. I'm a person of social science. I'm a literature man. I can quote for you Shakespeare here, if you want. But we had a problem in Soroti. Soroti, we have got a very good flying school there. Soroti flying school. Now, some of our people are trying to bring this democratic suffering, that we should all democratically suffer. But in Soroti, you had the administrators, the human resource, the personnel, the secretaries, the what. But in Soroti, what we needed were pilots. Yes, we needed some administrators. But without pilots, there's no meaning to a flying academy. We needed pilots and aircraft engineers. Now, in the private sector, a pilot on a jet engine is earning 25 million shillings. So, if you don't pay them that, they will not come to Soroti, and the academy would close. So, when we told no, but when we checked, the general manager, who is a man of Greek or Latin, who studied literature like me, he wants to get more money than the pilots, and you don't have the money. So we told the Soroti people, please, here we need pilots. There may be smaller people in terms of rank, but they're the ones we need. So we started paying the pilots what they should be getting in the private sector, in the aircraft company, in the airlines. And the academy now is big business, attracting students from many parts of Africa. So this is what we are talking about. What do you do